Hi, it's Megan. I wanted to talk about the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. So sometime next week I'm going to do a perfect palette tag video, and this will definitely be in the video, but before then I just wanted to do a quick look through. So you get 6 colors, and because it is one of my favorite palettes. Part of the reason why it's one of my favorite palettes is because it has mostly nude, mostly nude and also mostly matte shades, and I just love mattes, so, and I love nudes. So there's what it looks like. These are 6 full-size shadows according to the company, and there's a mirror on top which I won't show on camera. And one shade right here, Venus, has a little bit of sparkle in it, but the rest of them are all matte, and like I said, I love matte eyeshadows, and I just dropped it. So it's $28 and it has 0.3 ounces. Venus, and I have outdoor swatches, so you can see it in the natural light too. I'll try to swatch it on my arm as well. Ooh, I really did drop it. But some of these won't show up because they're so light. It just doesn't show up that well on my arm. So this is Venus. Yep, it's not going to show up very well. That's the indoor light. This is a soft white demi matte. It's kind of frosty a little bit. It's not super frosty. It's shimmered creamy white, and I love how, I'm going to say this for all of them, these shadows are all amazing quality. They're soft, they're creamy, they blend beautifully. You can use an eyeshadow primer and that makes them pop a little bit more, but you really actually don't need it with this palette. I get about 8 hours of wear for the shadows without a primer, and I get longer with it, maybe 10 hours, but they're just such great quality shadows, and they blend, they look natural, they look beautiful. Just a great formula. Urban Decay is just ridiculous when it comes to the quality of their shadows, and this, in my opinion, is one of their better palettes, which is saying a lot because Urban Decay is such a great company. So the next color is Foxy. It's a yellow beige, and again, this is a matte. And you can see it there. Yeah, these light ones aren't going to show up. That's why the outdoor swatch matters. So wipe those off. These two, this one, Venus, can be used as a highlighter as well. This really is, since it's a matte, it's not good at highlighting, but both of those are really pretty under the brow bone. And the one I used today is actually the next one, which can be put under the brow bone, or it can be used just on your eyelid. So the next one is WOS. Walk of Shame, a very light pinky nude matte according to the company, and this I just put up here just because that's what I felt like using today, but you can use any of the first 3 under your brow, or even this one is dark enough. Well, I think the last 2 are dark enough. You can put them on your lid as well. If you put a really light shadow on your lid and then kind of do a lot of shading with darker colors, it really opens up your eyes. So if you have small eyes, I do it anyway even though I don't have small eyes, but it's a great trick. So this is just one of those great basic mattes that work all the time. The next one is Naked 2. It's a soft taupe, and I think this is in a couple other palettes. It's a little brown looking, and let me see, Naked 2 is actually, I'm forgetting if it's a Naked 1 or Naked 2. We would guess it's probably the Naked 2 palette, but I know it's in one of the 2, and I know this is one of my favorite shades. So it's like, it's that kind of a thing. It's more a little bit of dusty brown, maybe a little bit of gray. Like I said, they call it a rosy taupe matte. I don't see the rosy. No, I don't see, I think it's more a taupe matte. Faint is, according to the company, a warm dusty brown matte, and I think that's really true. So I put Naked 2 on my lid, and I put it also under as a lower liner, and then I put Faint right just a little bit in the corner of the lower lash line, and then into the crease a little bit, just to add a little bit of dimension and depth. And it is kind of a medium dark brown. I think most of these shades lean toward the warm tones, and again, soft, creamy, very workable shade. The last one is Crave, and it's a, they call it a deep dark brown black matte, and I think it's more black than brown, but I can see the brown in it. It's a great shade. I guess if I were to have one complaint, I would have preferred it to be maybe a little bit lighter, but I know why they did this. This is the kind of decision that makes Urban Decay. So I write too. I write fiction and I write nonfiction, and this is the kind of decision that Urban Decay makes that keeps them edgy and also keeps them from getting cliche. Like, of course, most of us would think, oh yeah, of course you put a variation of browns and pinks and whatever, but to put a really smoky, workable shade like this, it just adds that little edge, makes this palette not just a really good solid palette, but it makes it a truly great palette. And so that's something that, like I said, I wouldn't have picked it for the palette, but gosh, they actually made the right decision, even if sometimes I think, yeah, I would like it to be a little lighter. So I put this as a liner on my upper lash line, and then I just, with my eyes, I usually just put a tiny little bit. Let me use a brush to show you. I took this brush and I used this to line, and then I just did a tiny little bit under the lower lash line. And then I also blended this with my finger because I didn't want, see how strong that is? I didn't want a really strong look. This is daytime when I'm shooting this video, and I'm going to be going out and doing a whole bunch of stuff in the daytime, and I just didn't want a really smoky look at this particular point in time. It's a cute little package. This will fit basically, I always do it upside down, this will fit basically anywhere. It's just so amazing. So, do I have any complaints about this palette? No, when I do my perfect palette video, this is going to go in there. This to me is among my very favorite palettes. What I like about it, I like the consistency of the shadows. Urban Decay just has such great quality, and these are all workable, wearable, flattering. There's something about certain companies where they're just able to get colors that work with skin tones, as opposed to just being great colors on their own. They're great colors on, and so there's total consistency. The shadows are beautiful, creamy, blendable, long-lasting, long-wearing. There's nothing bad to say. They're silky. They're just perfect shadows. And I like the selection of colors. I like the fact that it leans a little bit more to the lighter shades. I like the fact that it does have a shade that you can kind of use to smoke up the eye. So if you travel with it, you can do a lot more with the palette. And I think the two, yeah, I like all the shades. I was going to say I had two favorites, but I actually don't. And then I like the fact that they put one shadow in there, the light one, Venus, that has a little shimmer. So if you want to add that little element, you can also put that right here, kind of in the middle of your eyes, and just really brighten up your eyes. If you like a lot of dark shadows, this one is really, I think, leaning a little bit more to the lighter shadows, so you won't like it as much. But and I guess if you have a lot of other Urban Decay, there are some dupes in here, but I don't see how you can beat this particular palette. I really love it. I can't think of anything bad to say. So that's it. The brushes I used, I only used 3. I used a big shadow brush to do under the eyebrow and on the lids. I used this little flat eyeshadow brush to do the under eye lining, just because I wanted a soft line. And then I used this little liner shadow brush to do the dark shade as a liner, and then under here I used that one wet, the others I used dry, and then I just blended a little bit of, what was it, Crave, I think, into the crease right here, and then just blended it with my finger. That's simple. If you have this and have any comments, I would love to hear it. If you don't have it and have other questions, let me know. Other suggestions for videos, please subscribe on YouTube. I will be doing my perfect palette tag next week. And I also do videos for my book, Get Your Child to the Top, a parent-focused education book, and I think that's it. Thanks.